Well, after 9 months of testimony, French prosecutors this Friday have laid out their demands for sentences in the trial of 20 men accused of playing a part in the November 2015 terrorist attacks in Paris, which left 130 people dead, the worst such attacks in the country during a peacetime. Well, prosecutors have requested a life sentence that can't be reduced without parole for the main Paris attack suspect that's still alive, Salah Abdeslam, and sentences ranging from 5 years to life for the 19 others accused. Well, France 24's James André has been covering that trial in Paris for us. He's joining us on the line now. He was there. James, how did the prosecutors get to their decision, get to these particular sentences?
Well, indeed, the chief prosecutor explained this at length today, explaining that it was very important that the sentences were proportioned to what those who are in the dock here at this courthouse had actually done. There are 14 defendants that were actually here out of 26 people are trialed in absentia. And indeed, well, these sentences requests, these are only requests, once again, by the prosecution, range from 5 years for those who had a very minor role in these attacks, all the same saying that every little action counted, and that these people, for most of them, knew exactly what they were taking part in. And so this prosecutor is saying, these people had some minor input. They were sentenced. These sentence requests range from 5 to 9 years. And then you have another group, which is more the logistics of the operations, those who actually were much more involved with sentences ranging from 20 years to life with parole opportunities. And then, of course, you have those who had a direct implication in the attack itself. That's Salah Abdeslam, the sole surviving member of the group that attacked Paris on that night 6.5 years ago. Well, their sentence request is of life without parole. What does that mean in the French legal system? That means that Salah Abdeslam, if this sentence is handed down, it is the harshest in the French penal system. Well, that would mean 30 years in prison before Salah Abdeslam can even be heard by a court in order to ask for parole. And of course, that parole can be denied. Now, prosecutors explained that when it came to Salah Abdeslam or Mohamed Abrini, who also they request life in prison with a security period of 22 years, well, they say that these men, you cannot be sure that they will indeed one day be able to be reinserted into French society, that it will be impossible to define if they have indeed changed their mind when it comes to the Islamic State's ideas. Also, they say that this is all about retribution for the victims and also protecting society.
James, you mentioned that 14 of the defendants were present this Friday. What was their reaction to these requests from the prosecutors?
Well, absolutely no reaction. Indeed, they stayed completely neutral in the way that they were, behaving. Indeed, this has been a bit of a constant during this whole trial, with indeed Salah Abdeslam evolving from not saying anything to saying that he was, a soldier of the caliphate, and then eventually breaking down in tears in front of the victims, saying that he had decided not to detonate his belt. Well, indeed, the prosecutors have explained at length that they did not believe that indeed this was a choice, but that they believed that this explosive belt had malfunctioned. But also, for example, 2 other members of the logistics cells who have not said a word since this trial has begun. And indeed, the prosecutor explaining that this did not help them. They said they have a right to silence, but this silence mustn't indeed taint the decision of the court, and that it should not profit to the accused in this specific case. So indeed, yes, a very mute reaction in the docks today when these sentence requests were made.
James André reporting there from the heart of Paris, where that trial over those November 2015 attacks is taking place.